to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. In this episode, we're going to be speaking about one of the most successful football managers of the modern era. We're going to be speaking about the brilliant trophy-winning Pep Guardiola. And just to let you know that this week there will be a very special episode on Manchester City released on Patreon. If you're already a Patreon supporter, please do keep your eyes out for that one. Right then. We better do some of your shout-outs and your messages. And the first one is to 6-year-old Reese, who listens to the podcast with his mum, who says that she's 39 and she also really enjoys listening to it. Well, thank you very much to both of you. And Reese has sent me a fantastic letter, which says, "Dear Darren Rees, I'm enjoying your podcast and my first name is Reese. I support Aston Villa and please can you do an episode on Martinez? Can you please do a shout out to my team? Yateley United FC under 6s from Hampshire, especially to the brilliant coaches and my friends Rocco and Henry. We play in our first tournament soon. From Reese." Well, thank you very much for taking the time to send a letter, Reese, and I hope that your tournament went well. I wonder if that tournament was the tournament at Kennels Lane at Fleet Spurs or if it was a different one. Let me know. And the next one is from Elliot Mack, who, funny enough, plays for Fleet Spurs. He says, "I really enjoy your podcast and I support Manchester City and I play for the Fleet Spurs Seals." Well, a big shout out to you, Elliot. A massive thank you for being a listener and thank you for your message. My son plays for Fleet Spurs, but not the Fleet Spurs Seals. Keep up the good work and hopefully you will enjoy this episode. And the last one says, "Hello, Darren. My name is Malik and I'm 6 years old and I love football, especially Man City. I play football whenever I can, even winding my mum up by kicking cushions around the house all the time. A bit like you spoke about with Wayne Rooney in that episode. I play with my team Worley Town on Saturdays. Me and my mum, who doesn't even like football, listen to your podcast every bedtime. I get so excited when we have a notification for a new episode. I think we've listened to them all. I would go absolutely wild if I heard you shouting at my name and Worley Town on one of your episodes. From Malik." Well, thank you so much, Malik, for your message, and a big shout out to you, all of your teammates, your football coaches, Worley Town, and to your mum. Right then, we're out of time for shout outs on this episode, as it's time to get into the episode about the brilliant Pep Guardiola. Pep was born in Spain in 1971, and from a young age he was completely obsessed with footballs. His dad said that he was a good lad, but the only thing that he was really interested in when he was younger was a football. He would practice like mad and naturally got better and better as the weeks and months went by. One of Pep's dad's friends noticed how good he was. He was different to the other kids, and one evening over dinner, he told Pep's dad, "Your son is very, very good with the ball. Like, he's really good." He said to him, "You know at Barca, they have talent scouts, people who can assess how good someone like he is. You should take him down there. It's worth a shot. What have you got to lose?" Pep's dad took his advice and took him down to Barcelona for a few days of training in the presence of the Barcelona talent scouts. A few days later, the phone went. It was Barcelona on the phone. They recognised what his dad's friend had. They could see the talent and the love which he had for football. Pep was taken on board at Barcelona and spent a lot of time at a place called La Masia, which is a very famous Barcelona youth academy, which is responsible for producing the likes of Lionel Messi and Cesc Fabregas, among many other legends. Pep was very much used to being at his family home and loved being with his family. When he was staying at the youth academy, he suffered quite badly with homesickness and he really missed the people of home. His dad believes that going through this did help him become the person he is today. It was good for his character building and it's a part of his successes. Pep played with the Barcelona youth team and his talent didn't go unnoticed, although many people said that he was too thin and weak to become a professional footballer, especially one for one of the greatest sides of all time. When Pep was playing at the club there was a Dutch manager called Johan Cruyff, who was one hard manager but a master of the game. He gave Pep a hard time and Pep said to his dad, "He's always going on at me, he's always moaning at me." Pep's dad gave him the wise advice that he should soak it all up, listen and learn. He's trying to help you, Pep. So, That's what Pep did. When Johan spoke, Pep listened. And not only did he listen, he put it all into action. Pep went on to be a fantastic player for Barcelona, playing in the youth side, then the Barca C team, then the Barca B team, and in 1990 he got his shot of playing for the first team, in front of over 80,000 people. Pep went from strength to strength, and in the following season he would go on to be a part of the teams that would win both the La Liga and the European Cup, something he would achieve even before his 21st birthday. Pep went on to captain the side and was an extremely good set-piece taker who scored scorchers from outside the box. He played alongside legends like Luis Figo, Rivaldo, and was part of a true Barcelona dream team. Pep spent 17 years with the club, from being a young player in the youth academy to being the captain of the side. He played 11 seasons with the first team, playing hundreds of games, scoring and creating wonderful goals. He won 16 trophies, including 6 La Liga titles, and then left the club in 2001, a Barcelona legend. When Pep left Barca, he went to the Italian top division to play for a team called Brescia. And then he went on to Roma, and although he scored goals and had good game time with these clubs, it didn't really spark like it did with him and Barcelona. He finished his playing career with a team in the Qatar Football League, and finally with a club in the Mexican Premier Division. It was said that when Pep was in Mexico, he gave away envelopes full of a lot of money to the club's lowest paid people. What a lovely thing to do. Pep finished his playing career in the 2005-2006 season, having won several major trophies, captained Barcelona, playing for his country for several years, which included winning a gold medal at the Olympics, and 6 years after he left Barcelona as their captain and player, he was to return as the manager of their B team. When Pep joined the B team as manager, they were not in a very good way. They'd been relegated and they needed someone to come in and show leadership, adapt their way of playing and change things up for them. Pep introduced things to the coaching staff and players that they'd not witnessed or experienced before. He would fine them if they turned up late or if they acted unprofessionally in any way. He was there to shape things up and get them sorted, and that is exactly what he did. Barcelona B ended up being promoted and were champions of a league. Pep had properly turned them around. Guardiola had made such a big impact on the Barcelona B team that he was made the first team manager, as they were underperforming. The big bosses of Barcelona wanted results, so the expectations on Pep achieving these were massive. In Pep's first season in charge of the first team, there were some legendary players: Messi, Thierry Henry, Yaya Touré, and others who were spectacular players, but they just weren't getting the results they should have been. Pep had a lot of guts, and he got rid of some players who were classed as Barcelona legends, but he didn't see them in his plans. He knew they were past their prime. He knew how important it was to put those in the squad that wanted it more. He wanted people who would give it 110% every game, and that's exactly what he did. Pep said that he could forgive players who couldn't get it right, but he certainly couldn't forgive those who didn't try hard to get it right. However, it didn't all quite go to plan in the 2 opening games of the season. They lost their opening game and they drew their next game. Pep Guardiola got endless amounts of criticism and was told that he wasn't experienced enough, wasn't good enough, and he didn't have what it takes to manage a team like Barcelona. Following on from this, Pep's team didn't lose a game for 21 matches. They smashed teams 5 and 6-0. They won at home and they won away. Everything he had been working on with them pre-season took shape. Pep's Barcelona went on to win the league, the Copa del Rey, and they beat Manchester United to win the Champions League. Barcelona became the first ever Spanish side to win the league, the Domestic Cup and the European Cup in one season. And Pep Guardiola became the youngest man to manage a Champions League winning side. What an incredible achievement. In June 2012, Pep Guardiola's career with Barcelona finally came to an end, and he walked away having won the La Liga 3 times, the Copa del Rey twice, the Supercopa de España 3 times, the UEFA Super Cup twice, the FIFA Club World Cup twice, the Champions League twice, and the hearts of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Barcelona fans. Pep decided to take a year off work after this. He travelled a bit and he enjoyed himself. But after some time, it was time to go back to football. So, from one top team to yet another top team, Pep was off to Germany and to manage probably the greatest German side of all time, Bayern Munich. Pep's first match in charge of Munich was against Borussia Dortmund in the German Super Cup, a game which his team ended up losing 4-2. Pep had been there before though. He'd lost his opening game at Barca, and there was no way he was going to allow the league to start with a loss. Pep's Munich side went 28 games before being beaten and only lost 2 games in the whole season. They won the league and the German knockout football competition that year. He then went on to win the league another 2 times in a row and a series of other major German trophies. It didn't matter what club he was at, he was a winner, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. Pep left Munich winning the league every single season he was there. As always, like successful people do, he was looking for his new challenge, somewhere he could learn more about himself and more about the beautiful game. And it was off to the Premier League and to the blue side of Manchester. Pep Guardiola was off to Manchester City. Pep won his first 6 games in the Premier League season, including the Manchester Derby, where his team beat their rivals 2-1 away at Old Trafford. They continued to have a decent season and finished 3rd place behind Tottenham. Chelsea won the league that year by several points. In the following season, Pep had sorted his team out and had them playing exactly how he wanted them to. He made controversial decisions and had some people doubting his moves, but he knew what he needed to do to get Manchester City winning trophies. That year, the year of the 2017 season, Manchester City went 22 games without being beaten and only lost 2 games overall. They were crowned Premier League champions and the future was looking very bright. Pep has continued to mould Manchester City into a nearly unstoppable side. They've won the league the last 3 years in a row, and this year, Pep managed his team to winning the treble when they won the league comfortably, the FA Cup against their rivals Manchester United, and the Champions League against Inter Milan. Pep Guardiola is truly a mastermind of football. He knows how tactics work, he knows how to get the best out of his players, and he really knows how to win. So from being obsessed with a football to being told he was too skinny and weak, not only has he won titles as a player and played with some of the best players of the last 100 years, but he's managed teams and won almost every major club trophy going. I hope that you've enjoyed listening and learning about the story and career of Pep Guardiola so far. And remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitchside, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.